Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is going to be a continuation of my previous video, which is how I got my US visa. If you haven't watched that video yet, please go ahead and click on the link somewhere down here. But if you want to know how to fill out the form now, then go ahead and please keep on watching. First of all, I wanted to give you some important tips and reminders before filling out the form. First tip is make sure you have your passport and resume with you, because you are gonna be needing a lot of information from this to fill out your form. Second tip is have your digital photo ready. Try to do a test upload on the page just to make sure that your photo is valid and follows the basic requirements such as 2 by 2 inches, the right size, and also the right dimensions. Third tip, there is a 20-minute session time when filling out the form. So just make sure that you hit the save button when you have a chance, because you'll lose all the data once the session has timed out. My last and final tip is that whatever you put on the online form must match on your answers during the interview. So just keep that in mind. Now that we're done with the tips, let's go ahead and fill out the form.
Alright, the first step is to open the web browser and then go to this link. And then once you open that link, it will take you to the DS-160 online form. And then from here, select the country from where you are applying the visa. So let's say Philippines. And then enter the code as shown right underneath that drop down. So we have 6BX64. And then click on the Start an Application button right here. A while ago, I mentioned in one of my tips that you have to prepare your digital photo before proceeding with the application. This is actually where you're going to test upload your photo. So go ahead and click on the test photo link. And then click on browse to select your photo. Click open. And then click on upload selected photo. Now, if you get this error, the submitted photo did not meet the image quality requirements, that means that your photo is not valid and doesn't follow all the basic requirements such as the dimensions, the size. So never proceed with the application unless your photo is valid. Now back to the main page. If you scroll a little bit further down, you will notice that there's two more buttons here, the upload and retrieve an application button. Normally I don't use the second button, but what I mostly use is the third one, which is the retrieve an application button. I find this really useful because I don't need to complete the application in just one go. I can always go back to this website and then continue from where I left on. So all you need is just to click on this button and then just put in your application ID as well as the answer to your security question, and you can continue from there. Now let's proceed with the application. So go ahead and click on the Start an Application button, and it will take you to the application information page. Notice on the right hand side your application ID, which is AA008TTP05. So go ahead and copy this application ID or print it out, because this is a very important information. You need this for two reasons. Number one is you can always come back to your application by using this application ID through the retrieve an application button a while ago. And for the second reason, this application ID is important when you're scheduling for your interview. Now scroll down a little bit. You'll see that you need to select a security question and put an answer. So go ahead and select one. Let's see, in what city or town was your first job? So type in your answer. Let's say Manila, and then click on continue. Now you're on the personal information page. If you take a look at the left side of the page, you will notice that there's different categories that you have to go through one by one. So first we're starting off with the personal page, and then the next will be address and phone, passport, travel companions, previous US travel, US contact, family, work, education and training, and security and background. So let's start off with putting our surname. Let's say Fernandez. Putting your given name, Marcelo. And then I don't have a native alphabet, so just click on does not apply. Have you ever used other names? None. Just say no. Do you have telecode that represents your name? No. Put your sex, male. Your marital status, single. Your date of birth, say 1st of January 1990. And then your city, say Manila. Metro Manila. Country is Philippines. And then click on the next button. The next page is the second part of your personal information. So first here is asking me to select my nationality, so I will go ahead and select Philippines. And then for the next two questions, answer them accordingly. So I say no and no. And then down here it's asking me to put in a national identification number, which I don't have. I also don't have a US social security number, as well as a US taxpayer ID number. So for all of this, I'm going to select does not apply, and then just click on the next for the address and phone. Now it's time for us to put in the address and phone information. So for my home address, let's say 10th Avenue, Makati, Metro Manila, say 111, and country is Philippines. And then for the mailing address, is your mailing address the same as your home address? And say yes. And then enter your phone number. Let's say 0927-555-9009. I don't have a secondary and work phone number, so I'll click on does not apply. And then finally I'll put in my email address, mfernandez@yahoo.com, and then just click on the next button. Now we're on the passport information page. I mentioned a while ago in one of my tips that before proceeding with your application, make sure that you have your passport with you, because you are going to be needing a lot of information from your passport to put into the online form. So the first one is asking me for the travel document type. I'll say regular, and I'll put my passport number. I don't have a passport book number, so I will select does not apply. That's right. And then select the country, the city, the province, and the country again. And then here we need to put in the issuance date, January 1, 2017. And then also put your expiration date of the passport, say December 1, 2027. And then, have you ever lost a passport or had one stolen? Say no, and then click next to go to the travel page. The next page is the travel information page. So this is actually one of the most important pages that you are going to fill out. The first one is going to ask for the purpose of my trip. So since I'm going there for a tour as a temporary visitor, then I'll go ahead and select the type B visa, which is the temporary business pleasure visitor visa. And then underneath that question, I have to specify whether it is for business and tourism, for a conference, or for medical treatment. So I just selected the B1, B2 visa. The next question is, have you made specific travel plans? I said yes. And if you answered yes, then there will be questions coming up, which is the first one is date of arrival in the US. So I say May 1st, 2019. If you know the arrival flight, then you can put it in here, but if not, you can just leave it blank. And the arrival city is Los Angeles. The date of departure from US will be the date you are coming back to your home place, which is say May 9th 2019. And then again, if you know the departure flight, then you can put it in here, otherwise just leave it blank. And then the departure city will be Los Angeles. Okay, so you have to provide the locations you plan to visit in the US. So in my case, I put Los Angeles and San Francisco, to name a few. And then right here it's asking me where in the US are you planning to stay. So let's say 1020 West Pico Avenue, and then city is Los Angeles. The state is of course California, and the zip code is 90035. And then lastly, it's asking you whether who is going to pay for your trip. So I said it's myself, and then you're done. Click on the next to go to the travel The next page is the travel companions information page. On this page, you just need to specify whether you are traveling alone or you're traveling with someone else. So since I'm only myself traveling to the US, then I'll just select no. And then click on the next button to go to the previous US travel page. Now we're on the previous US travel information page. So the United States just want to know the history of your travel, if you've ever been to US before. So I say no. Have you ever been issued a US visa? No. Have you ever been refused a US visa? Say no. And has anyone ever filed an immigrant petition on your behalf with the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services? Say no. So I answered no on all of these questions, and I just click on next. Now we're on the US point of contact information page. So in this page, you just need to put in the contact person in the US. So say Fernandez, Juan Miguel, and then put in the organization name. Just in case that you don't know, then just click on the box for do not know, and then specify your relationship to the contact person, say relative, and then put in the address of your relative in the US. So say 10 West Pico Avenue, Los Angeles, state is California, zip code, let's say 90035. The phone number, say 123-456-7890. The email address of your relative, say jmfernandez@yahoo.com, and then click on the next to move on to the family page. Now we're on the family information page. So on this page, you just need to put in the information of your family. The first one is asking for my father's full name. So let's say Fernandez, and given name is Pablo, and the date of birth, say January 1st, 1980 or 1970. Is your father in the US? No. And then for my mom's details, Fernandez, say Paula, date of birth, say January 1st, 1980. Is your mother in the US? No. Do you have any immediate relatives, not including parents, in the United States? I say no. And then, do you have any other relatives in the US? And I said yes. And then from there, we can go ahead and click on the next to go to the work, education, and training page. So the next page is going to be about your work, education, and training information. A while ago I told you about one of my tips that you have to prepare your resume, because you are gonna be needing all of those information to fill in the DS-160 form, and this is the part where you have to fill in those information. So the first one is asking me for the primary occupation. I will say computer science, and then once you click on that, it is going to ask you some more questions. What is the present employer or school name? Let's say Smart Communications Incorporated. Specify the address. Let's say 1070 Ayala Avenue, Makati. Province is Metro Manila. Postal code, say 1521. Phone number 12345678890, and the country is Philippines. And then your start date, say January 1st 2012, and then put in your monthly income in a currency if you're employed, so let's say 50,000. And then from here you have to describe your duties about your work, so say develop, enhance websites and software applications. Once you finish with this, just click on next. So the next page is going to ask you about your previous work, education, and training information. And the first question is, were you previously employed? And I said no. And the second one is, have you attended any educational institutions at a secondary level or above? I say yes. And if you answered yes, there will be other questions that you need to fill in. What is the name of the institution? Let's put University of the Philippines. What is the street address? Say Commonwealth Avenue, Diliman. The city, Quezon City. The province is Metro Manila. Postal code 1101. And the Philippines. And put in the course of study, computer science. Date of attendance, say January 1st 2005 until say July 1st 2009. Now when you're done, just click on next to go to the work, education, additional. So the next page is going to be asking you about additional work, education, and training information. The first question is asking if you belong to a clan or tribe. Say no. And then the next one, you need to provide the list of languages that you speak. Say English. If you are speaking with other languages other than English, then select add another and put in the language, which is Filipino. Then proceed to the next question. Have you traveled to any countries within the last 5 years? I said yes. Put in the country where you traveled to. Say Singapore. And then the next question is, have you belonged to, contributed to, or worked for any professional, social, or charitable organization? Say no. And then continue to answer the rest of the questions. Mostly I answered no. No. And then once you're done, click on the next button to go to the security and background page. Now the next page is the security and the background page, which is one of the most important pages. This is actually divided into 5 different parts. We have part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4 and part 5. So simply answer the questions as honest as you can. So say no, and no, and then continue to the next part. Now we're on the part 2 of the security and background page. So go ahead and continue to answer the rest of the questions. Have you ever been arrested? No. Have you ever violated any law? No. Are you coming to the US engaged in prostitution or unlawful commercial vice? No. Have you ever been involved or do you seek engage in money laundering? No. Have you ever committed a conspired to commit a human trafficking offense? No. Have you ever knowingly aided, abetted, or assisted, colluded with an individual? No. And are you the spouse, son, has committed or conspired to commit a human trafficking? No. Once you're done, just click on the next button to proceed to the part 3. Continue answering the questions for the third part of the security and background page. For the first one, the answer is no. The second one, do you seek to engage in terrorist attacks? Of course, no. And then continue answering the rest of the questions. So mostly the answer is no. Once you're done, click on the next button to go to the fourth part. For the part 4 of the security and background page, there is only one question. Have you ever sought to obtain or assist others to obtain a visa, entry into the United States, or any other United States immigration benefit by fraud or willful misrepresentation or other unlawful means? Answer is no. Once you're done, proceed to the next page by clicking on the next button here. Now we're on the last part of the security and background page. So there's only 3 questions. First one, have you ever withheld custody of a US citizen child outside of the US from a person granted legal custody by a US court? No. Have you voted in the United States in violation of any law or regulation? No. Have you ever renounced United States citizenship for the purpose of avoiding taxation? No. And then once you're done, go on and click on the next button to proceed to the photo page. Now we're on the upload photo page. Just a reminder though that since November 1st, 2016, eyeglasses will no longer be allowed in new visa photos. So if you scroll down below, you will see the upload your photo link here. Go ahead and click on that, and then click on the browse to select your photo, and finally click on the next button to upload the selected photo. Once you're done with the photo, the next part is to review all your answers, starting from the personal address, phone, and passport information, followed by travel, US contact, family, work, education and training, security and background, as well as location. So just go through the answers and make sure that everything is correct. If it's okay, then click on next to go to the travel. Then just go through ahead, click on next. For the training and work, education, next. Next. And then security and background information, next. Then location, next. Finally, click on the next button to sign and submit. And then answer, did anyone assist you in filling out this application? Say no. And then type in your passport number and the code shown to the right, A3SX. And once you're done, finally click on the sign and submit application. So that's all for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe on my channel. I'll see you again. Bye.